Hello, and we want to welcome all of you to today's online presentation, What's New in Europe for 2021. My name is Kristen, and I will be your moderator for today's presentation. We understand it is not an easy time to travel, but this is a perfect time to start planning those travel books and prepping where you want to be. Before we begin today's travel presentation, I would like to go over a few things. First, we will hold all questions until the end. If you do have questions during the presentation, please type them in the question box in the GoToWebinar toolbar, and we will cover them at the end. Second, we will have 2 questions during this presentation, and we encourage you to participate by submitting your answer in the GoToWebinar question box. And lastly, this webinar will be recorded and will be available after the presentation. First, I'm going to take a moment to introduce ourselves. My name is Kristen, and I'm the marketing coordinator for Vacations by Rail and the moderator for this online travel presentation. And shortly you will meet Jeannie, Vacations by Rail's Chief Operating Officer and your presenter today. So now we're going to start with our first question to get to know you a bit more. Have you ever taken a rail vacation? So go ahead and submit your answer in the GoToWebinar question box. All right, so keep getting those answers in, but so far I'm seeing a good mix of responses here. Some of you have said yes and some have said no. Either way, that's great, and we're about to show you some brand new product that will hopefully kick off your very first rail vacation or give you inspiration for your next one. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Vacations by Rail, a little bit about us. In addition to the wide variety of vacations that we offer around the globe, we also offer best-in-class customer care with a dedicated rail specialist to assist you from your first call until you return home from your vacation. We are the leading rail vacations company in the United States, offering the largest selection of independent rail vacations, escorted rail tours, rail cruise combinations, and luxury rail journeys. We are the trusted authority on rail, a member of the National Tour Association and the American Bus Association with a Better Business Bureau A+ rating. Vacations by Rail is also AARP's preferred provider. We're a great rail journeys company, backed by more than 45 years of experience in the specialty of global rail vacations. And Vacations by Rail delivers unmatched vacations and first-class service to destinations around the globe. We also offer extensive vacation options aboard the world's iconic trains. So why take a rail vacation? It's a unique way to see parts of the country not accessible through other modes of transportation. You leave the navigation and driving to someone else. You mix iconic trains with fantastic destinations and improved sightseeing. Rail travel is an integral part of the vacation experience, not just a travel component. So there's no need to stop for meals or overnight accommodations. Everything is available for you from start to finish. A rail vacation is a great way to meet people from all over the globe, and it's an eco-friendly way of traveling. Rail travel uses less carbon emission than other modes of transportation. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's included in every Vacations by Rail vacation. You receive comfortable accommodations and centrally located within national parks or in the heart of large cities. You receive comprehensive sightseeing, offering one-of-a-kind of experiences, insider expertise and local expertise, and exceptional customer service from agents who specialize in rail. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter today, Jeannie, Vacations by Rail's Chief Operating Officer and your presenter today. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks very much. And today we're going to explore a variety of different places that we go to. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about what is your travel style and what do you like to do. At Vacations by Rail, we blend our product. Even though the destination may stay the same, the style of touring can change. So if you're the independent person, likes to select your own date, prefers to not be with a group or maybe a small group of family, then an independent vacation may work for you. If you prefer small groups, that's something we're going to highlight today. So we have our small group experience, but it is escorted or guided. Also river cruising. River cruising is one of the top ways to travel right now in Europe or for next year in 2021. And what we do at Vacations by Rail is to blend both that touring experience, our river cruising, and of course, everything has a rail component. And then there is our locally hosted. Little bit different type of travel, but it allows you to go as an independent with a host. So you go from city to city and you have your local hosts that help you. So today, as we work our way through the different travel, I'll also talk a little bit about the travel style. Our smaller group experience is something that's going to be new for next year. As we look at the world around us, one of the things that we want to be able to do is really travel safely, but still travel. And so our tour number of travelers on them is going to be reduced when we get into Europe, so we're able to provide that. You'll have anywhere from 21 to 38 people. Most often it will be 21. And so you can ask your rail specialist, what is the capacity on those tours? The thing that's interesting about it is it also opened up a variety of areas that we can travel to that are unique and are for that small group. So where in the world do we go? Vacations by Rail travels throughout the world. Today, yes, we're talking about Europe, but if you look at the broad product line that we have tours in Canada, in the United States. We travel to Asia. We are also traveling to Africa, to India, but today we're concentrating on Europe. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that and what is new. Our newest product that's out there is our Best of London and Paris. And that is, of course, by rail. It's connecting two amazing cities, two of my favorites in Europe, on an escorted tour. That is going to start in London with 4 days in London, and then we will take the Eurostar and travel to Paris. Some of the things that are unique is the Windsor steam train. We're going to be doing that. So you have two rail components there. But when you look at our product, you're going to find things that are unique throughout. So we have an 8-day escorted tour. It starts at $27.95 and of course begins in London and ends in Paris. Our travel months for this product is in June and September of 2021. When we look at the different pictures that we have here, these are the key components. One, the Tower of London. The Tower of London in your upper left-hand side is the tower. It's very famous, but what do we do that's different there? Prior to everybody else getting in, we're getting a 15-minute, sort of like a backstage tour by one of the guards there. When you look at the right, we have on the upper right, it's the Windsor Castle, and we will tour to Windsor and have passes into the castle. And then there's the Marais in Paris. Marais in Paris is an upcoming area known now for its exclusive shops, also the food that's there. We'll have a wonderful walking tour there with a local guide, and then have some time on our own to explore. Of course, the train on the left is the Eurostar. When you travel with us on the Eurostar, we have our own meeting place in St. Pancras, so it makes it very easy. A little time to shop while you're around in there, and then board the train. And then we're in Paris, and we have the Arc de Triomphe, which is really their tomb of the unknown. So there are soldiers from World War I, unknown soldiers are buried there, but it is also a bastion to their freedom. And then, of course, we have the Thames River Cruise with Big Bend. So the thing that's unique is that Royal Windsor steam train. And on the Royal Windsor steam train, it's a big highlight for the tour. It takes you from London, Waterloo to Windsor in a steam hauled carriages. On its way, we're going to pass several landmarks, including the London Eye and the Houses of Parliament. We steam along the River Thames, and there are several reservoirs and lakes, so beautiful scenery as we go along. And then we end in Windsor's Eton Riverside Station. It's a designated royal station by London and South Western Railway. The route has been methodically planned to give you the best views of the English countryside, and while we enjoy some of the wonderful food that's on board. So let's take a look. We had a scenic rail excursion on board the Royal Windsor steam train, London City Tour, Windsor sightseeing, including the castle, opening ceremonies at the Tower of London, the River Thames cruise, including lunch, Paris sightseeing, and a little more food in Les Marais. So we go on to our next tour in Europe, It's what's new again. When I think of Tuscany, I think of food, and I think of wine, and I think of the wonderful Italian people that have such a warm, welcoming feel for us here in the United States. So let's take a look at what we're doing. The unique part of this, and we made changes in this year to make it more of a hub and spoke. So we're going to spend 7 nights in Montecatini. We have, and then travel out from there. So another way that you can make it a little bit more of a relaxing vacation is staying in one place where you are in a hotel in such a beautiful area, you're able to unpack and enjoy. Yet Italy is not the easiest to travel in because you have cobblestone streets, we're boarding on and off trains and doing some sightseeing that is a little bit more difficult. It's an escorted tour again, so we have our local or our escort with us and then local guides when needed in certain areas. It starts at $15.95, so it's well priced and it begins and ends in Montecatini. We have a variety of departure dates, so they are specific, but they will be from April 13th through October the 5th. So if you like to travel in the summer when it's quite warm, it's a great time, but if you like those spring and fall months, I recommend April, May, or September and October. So what do we have here? We have San Gimignano, which is on the upper left, which is one of our sightseeing things. This is a walled city. It's a medieval city, slightly south of Florence, and we're going to have a walking tour there. In the upper right is Florence, and of course the Duomo, which is the most recognized building in Florence. It's the capital of the Tuscan region, but what is most important is that it's well known for its Renaissance art. Just below Florence is Lucca, another medieval city. Lots of cobblestone streets there, kind of built on a hill. And then on the lower left, you're going to see the train. And that is actually the Montecatini Railway, and it's a funicular. And the funicular takes you up to Montecatini Alto, which is going to give you some of the best views of Tuscany. Across the bottom, of course, we all know the Leaning Tower of Pisa because it leans. And then we will also have a trip to Siena. One thing I want to mention too is we do have a lunch in Lucca, which is delightful. So it's a chance to eat and enjoy in the Tuscan region, the wine and the food there. I'm going to talk a little bit about we talked about travel styles, and I'm moving into Switzerland and how we wrap things around it in a variety of different ways. So let's take a look on something else that's new, and it's the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland. But this is escorted. It's an escorted experience for you. So you're going to have a guide. And remember, if you like the amazing highlights that you see on our website right now for Grand Train Tour, they're included in here. But what is also included, because it's a guided tour, is you're going to have a guide with you. You will have step-on guides where needed in certain areas. Your baggage handling is going to be taken care of, and then you have all of the details. So we take a look at this, and this really wraps up our itinerary for us. We start out in Zurich, and we're going to spend 1 night in Zurich, and then we're going to take the train and we're going down to Grindelwald. And Grindelwald is 2 nights there. From there, but this is all about the trains. So what I want to mention is we go to what is called the top of Europe. It's the Jungfraujoch. We're up at 11,000 feet. It's the highest railway station in Europe, and it's a great place to buy Lindt chocolate. We then travel from Grindelwald, and we're going to Montreux. In Montreux, we're on the Golden Pass line, and that's about a 5-hour trip, but it takes us through all of the hillsides, and then you're going to go past Lake Geneva. When we leave Montreux, we are traveling on our way to Zermatt. We're going to have time on our own in several of these cities where you have, so I want to break it up a little bit, knowing that you will have time to explore the cities itself, even though this is all about the trains. It is also very much designed to give you the time in these beautiful little cities The activity level we'll talk about more towards the end of this. And we will do the Gonegrat Railway, as you can see on there. It is the highest cog rail in Europe. It's only about a 1 hour actual on the rail, but we have 4 stops and we're going to stop at each station, and so that you're able to take the views and the pictures, and we will see the Matterhorn. From there, on day 7, we're taking the Glacier Express with lunch on board, and we're going to her. And you can see how we are working our way through the southern part of Switzerland, because we definitely want to get over to the south end, but we're taking the Glacier Express. On day 8, we're doing the Bernina Express. And the Bernina Express is an iconic train for us, and in the fact that it has 55 tunnels and 196 bridges that it does. And we're taking it down to Lugano. So we're dipping our way just down near the Italian border. We will cruise on Lake Lugano. And then just towards the end of our trip, we're going to take the Gotthard Panorama Express. We're going to leave those palm trees, go through the Gotthard Tunnel, and then we're going to end with our last night being in that quaint little city in Lucerne with the Chapel Bridge. So you have 11 days. It's from 49:45, and we begin in Zurich and we end in Lucerne with possible transfers up to Zurich for your flights home. We travel May, July, August, and September. And here's just some views of those amazing trains. The highlights, some of the highlights is lunch on board the Glacier Express, our excursion into Jungfrau Joch on a UNESCO World Heritage Site, our Lake Lucerne cruise. And here are the images that you see of some of our travels on the trains in those beautiful Swiss cities. So we did that tour, and we did it by being escorted. So we have the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland, similar, but not escorted. This is going to be independent. So what that does for you as a benefit, it allows you to it's $23.75, less expensive. It begins in Zurich and ends in Lucerne, but the beauty of it is you can travel almost any day of the week that you would like to go. Yet you do not have an escort or guides on board, but then it's in your hands. So if your preference is to travel as an independent, this is the Swiss trip for you. You can also upgrade to Excellence Class. And what does that mean? When you upgrade to Excellence Class, they enjoy the same hotel accommodations on our Superior Class with first class reservations, but they also get this experience when they're on board the Glacier Express. So we're still working our way through bits and pieces of Central Europe and a little bit down into Southern Europe. And we're going to have an adventure that's going to include river cruising. River cruising what are the benefits of river cruising? 1, you get to unpack when you're on board. You have touring in each port. You can select your own cabin level and choose how you want to travel. The amenities on board are first class. The food is local. So along the way, those cruise ships, the river cruise ships, pick up their food, and you're always having the local wines and the local foods from the area. And we're going to talk about the Glacier Express and the Danube Cruise. This was also brought in. Now this is new for us this year. We've done the Danube Cruise, of course, but then adding to it, coming out of London, we're going to come in on the Eurostar and come across, and then we're going to work our way across southern Switzerland and southern Austria into Budapest. So we'll start into Vevey and then take the train over to her, into Innsbruck, and then into Budapest. Pick up our river cruise in Budapest and work our way back to Passau and include Regensburg. And then we train back into London. So we have 5 departure dates for next year, but it begins and ends in London. And the beauty of that too is it's usually easy flights from the United States, and they're relatively inexpensive, and we can do pre or post nights there if needed. We included the Bernina Express, and you've seen the Bernina Express in our other Switzerland programs that we had today. And then also here are, if you look in the upper left, this is some of the areas we touch when we're river cruising. One is Passau, Vevey, Switzerland, and Innsbruck across the top. And then across the bottom is the Eckenseebahn, which is a new train for us. We've done the train before, but new today that I'm mentioning. And this is a train through Austria. And then we go into her Switzerland and then on to Bratislava. So you've seen a little bit of Switzerland, both in, we showed it to you in the escorted, then I took you back to an independent, and now we have a combined escorted and river cruise. So the travel style is yours to choose with Vacations by Rail. We have 2 scenic rail excursions on this. We're going to stop in the vineyards and have wine tasting. We'll do like a Kensi cruise. And then we also do something very special to me, because when I was in Budapest, one of the most beautiful things I saw was that the illumination of the city at night from the water. And then we'll have performance by a Hungarian folk band. One thing that is unique also on this is we have an onboard performance by Vienna's Philharmonic Orchestra. And then the Wachau Valley is included with the Melk Abbey. So on this, you've gotten started in London, you've worked your way across, taken in a bit of Switzerland and Austria and the trains, back up onto the Danube, and then back home to London. A little bit more about 5-star cruising, and this is something that I want to mention today, this is new. I have been to Amsterdam more than 15 times. I have been through Holland and done the Rhine cruise. So this one is really special to me. When you travel to Holland, the most beautiful time of the year to go is in the spring, because not only are the hyacinth in bloom, the tulips are in bloom, and for a very short time, Keukenhof Gardens is open with all of this on display for us. So this year, we're offering a cruise only package, or a style of cruise that you would like. And what we will do is we will begin with the river cruise package. We're going to go out to Keukenhof as included, and we will travel down and around on the Rhine, portions of the Rhine, but it is all about Holland. So you can also purchase this and add a couple nights in Amsterdam and some touring, or you can add a couple nights in London with some touring and travel up. And Vacations by Rail will handle all of the details for you. Another rail or cruise only product that we're doing is going to be the Rhone cruise. Now everybody is aware of where the Rhine is, but the Rhone is a little more of a mystery for us if you've not traveled to Europe much. And that Rhone cruise is taking us into central France and down to Nice. We've all heard of Nice. And so our travel on the river is into the small little towns along the river in central France, with enjoying, remember, it keeps the same as all of our river cruising. You unpack once, you have 5-star service. We have a tour that's included in each port, and on occasion you'll have 2 tours that you can choose which one you would like to go to, and then you also have your choice of cabins. So today we're featuring the 2. One was Amsterdam that I mentioned, or Holland. Now we're going into central France. Each of those programs are designed to allow you to choose the cruise and then the beginning and end of each of those tours and how you want to do it. And our rail specialists are here to help you. We ask about how to upgrade your experience. Upgrading your experience for the traveler is always, particularly on a river cruise, you can upgrade your experience by upgrading your cabin category. at a pre-night, a post-night, possibly touring before you get there. On our Grand Tour of Switzerland, which is independent, you can upgrade to Excellence class. So our rail specialists at Vacations by Rail are trained in the destinations, and we want to make this trip, your vacation, the way you want to see it, and to add to it the things that are important to you. I am going to turn this back over to Kristen for our second polling question.
Great, thank you so much, Jeannie. That was wonderful information. And it brings us to our next question. When are you going to start planning your 2021 vacation? It can be right now, 6 months from your departure date, or whenever you typically start to plan your vacation. We'd love to know. So please be sure to let us know in the GoToWebinar question box. All right, so keep getting those answers in, please. And I'm seeing a few coming in right now. And a lot of them are saying that you typically plan between 6 to 12 months of the departure date for your rail vacation. And that's a great time to start making those rail vacations, especially the more popular ones. You get, ahead on the bookings and just before they book up for the season. So if you want to learn more about our destinations, costs, itineraries, or more, you can go online or call a rail specialist to request any of our available brochures. And just as a quick note, we recently released these 3 rail brochures that you see on your screen right now. They are available for digital download only, and you can find them on our website, or a rail specialist will help you find the one that you're most interested in looking for. So be sure to take a look at those when you get a chance. You can request a brochure and get more information by calling us at 877-929-7245, or like I said, by going on our website, vacationsbyrail.com. So now we're going to open it up for some questions you had during the presentation. Just a reminder to submit any questions in the GoToWebinar question box. And for the sake of time, we'll only get to a few, so if you don't hear your question answered today, no worries. A rail specialist will reach out to you after the presentation to make sure your question gets answered. So Jeannie, our first question is, are the meals included in every escorted tour?
A select number of meals are included in the tours. Typically in Europe, you're going to find your breakfasts included. And then when we can include a meal that is exclusive to a rail experience, like the Windsor Steam Train, where we eat on board, or any of the other trains, we also include those, but we try and make them something that's indicative of the area that we travel to.
Great. Our second question is, how will my luggage be handled?
Well, let's start with the independent tours. And the independent tours, that would be for you to handle, for the traveler to handle. On our escorted tours, that is covered. So we will, sometimes it's transferred directly onto a motor coach if we have a motor coach transfer. When it's on the trains, we provide transport of the luggage from one hotel to another.
Great. And our last question is, what are the different levels of activity for your escorted tours?
We have a range of activities that on many of our tours, they're marked right on the website. On others, on Europe, I would say that they would be at a level of 4, which means you have most of your tours, city tours are walking tours, so longer walking. And in Europe, we know it's all cobblestone streets. It'd be a little bit more hilly. So that's really important when you're booking your reservation or looking at a destination, to ask our rail specialists how much of the time is walking and how much of it is a little bit more leisurely.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeannie. So that wraps up our online presentation for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We look forward to sending you a brochure that you requested, or hearing from you by calling us at 877-929-7245. If you'd like to receive a call from one of our rail specialists to answer your questions about these destinations or otherwise, please leave a callback number in the chat box and someone will be in touch. Also, please be sure to be on the lookout for our special offer exclusively for webinar attendees. And lastly, be sure to keep an eye out for more information on next week's online travel presentation, the popular tours and their activity levels. So Jeannie briefly touched on the activity levels and her questions, but we'll go in depth about those activity levels and the perfect tours that accommodate those activity levels. So, and that will be on Tuesday, July 21st at 10 a.m. So thank you everyone for coming, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks again, Jeannie.
Thank you, and thank you all for attending.